So this time from the 30th anniversary / Renegades G.I. Joe line, we're going to be taking a look at the Zombie-Viper Cobra Trooper. I really like what they've done throughout the Pursuit of Cobra and the 30th anniversary line. They've had this kind of little storyline going in through accessories with the figures and all of this substance called Compound Z. And it's, you can see that in some of the figures like Cobra Commander, the Hazard Viper, and even some of the Joe ones like Airtight. Let's take a look at the figure here. Of course, this is kind of like a army builder. Well, it is an army builder. So there's not going to be any one specific person. So you're not going to get much information on the card other than, you know, what the Zombie Vipers are, and they're created by Compound Z, and basically turns them into thoughtless zombies loyal only to Cobra. And it's kind of neat that they have, you can really tell a lot, I think, through the design of the character. And something that to me might contradict some of the stuff on here on the card, but that's just my own imagination going with what I have on the character and the design of it. So first of all, you'll notice that the helmet here on the guy and the line going back to this canister of what is Compound Z. Now you notice that there are 3 other spots for additional canisters which they didn't feel free to include, but then also you have 2 more holes on the helmet for something to plug into. Now that means to me that they wanted to have at least 2 more canisters to connect to the head. And the thought is that maybe that it's 3 doses of Compound Z that are required to transform a regular human into a zombie. And that this is the delivery system, and so that would mean that it was administered through the air. And you can take the helmet off here, and you can see the wonderfully sculpted zombie head. Yes, and you can see the slightly blue color scheme, again going off the color of the Compound Z in not only this but previous figures. And you can see that it is laced throughout the figure and his body, showing up on the outside, very nicely detailed. Also, I like the eyes and the mouth of the sculpt there. Very nice. And if you notice the straps here on this sort of vest that helps to administer the Compound Z, is kind of reminds me of like a straight jacket or restraint. And so it leads me to believe that rather than having like loyal Cobra troopers undergo this process, it's more of a thing that they use on people that they capture. And they put them in this generic Cobra jumpsuit because he does have Cobra symbols on the arms, and you can see underneath there but they're pretty plain, and so I think it's more like they'll capture people and put these suits on them, turn them into these zombies, and let them loose. And, you know, regardless to what they say, they retain their skills in combat. Well, that doesn't seem really right to me, because they don't really give him any weapons. You know, if they were retain their skills in combat and they were troopers that were exposed to this thing, why wouldn't they give them their guns? Because they would remember how to use them. So instead, you see that they've sculpted on here what look like kind of homemade pipe bombs. And so they've given these guys very crude weapons, which you would give to people who didn't retain military skills and combat skills. And so that leads me to think that even more that these are not really people that are trained, just like civilians and anybody that they could grab. Like, I mean, you know, I suppose technically if they could grab a Joe and expose him to this stuff, he would turn into a thing, and maybe they'd give him weapons, but, you know, their basic guy who knows nothing of combat, they're just going to give crude weapons to, and so these pipe bombs make sense that way to me. Now, let's go through the articulation first here. Head is on a ball joint, goes forward and back, left and right, a little bit side to side. Arms do go all the way around, out to the side. They bend and rotate at the elbow, and they rotate and bend at the wrists. Now again, these bend in and out. Both limbs do that. Normally you would see characters with one that bends in and out and one that bends forward and back like that, but a lot of these figures, for some reason, in this wave have two of the same wrist joints here, going the same way. Not that that's a bad thing, just odd. Now, his upper torso articulation is pretty limited by the restraint and delivery system thing, but you still can, if you hold his legs, get a left and right action going here, as well as some forward and back, but not much. His legs do go forward and back and out to the side. He's got double knee joints, and his ankles go forward and back and rotate. Now, he does have some additional things which I guess kind of tie into the cartoon a little bit as well, because you can detach his limbs. It's nice that they include these pieces of ripped sleeve here. You get these arms that kind of are grown out, and that happens with both limbs. Now, unfortunately, these are not posable. I think that they could have made these a little bit bendy. They're pretty much static the way they are, and if you ask me, they're kind of a little bit goofy, and I much prefer the standard sort of like run-of-the-mill zombie rather than the sort of vegetation growing limb zombie. To each their own. Some people may really like that additional pieces. It's a really cool thing, and I did order this pack online, so I haven't been able to find any of these zombies at retail. They probably get snatched up pretty quick. So it's a little bit too expensive to go and army build these guys over the internet, but you may have to resort to that if you're not in a good area to get distribution on these things. And you might miss out, because really, who wouldn't want an army of zombies? COBRA symbols are hidden enough that you could work for any 3 3/4 inch figures. So it's a neat figure. If you find them, get them. So that'll be it for the Zombie-Viper, and stay tuned for maybe some more G.I. Joe stuff. I think that's pretty much it until the movie line starts showing up. And I tell you, I've seen some pictures of the movie line, and they really do look pretty good. At least some of them. Now, I think everybody, there are going to be some that are going to be really hard to find. I think everybody's going to want the Rock Roadblock figures, because really, how many times are you going to get a figure of The Rock? You got wrestling figure fans, you got G.I. Joe fans, you have people that are just fans of The Rock as an actor, and they're all going to be after that figure. And then you have one of the big ones that I think is going to be really hard to find is the Joe Colton figure, which of course is played in the movie by Bruce Willis. So you're going to have die-hard fans, you're going to have Bruce Willis fans after that figure. And maybe for just the head sculpt itself. I mean, people are going to want to do Pulp Fiction, customs and all sorts of customs with characters that he's played over the years. So that'll be hard to find, I think. I'm hoping that they do realize that that's going to be a in-demand figure, and so they're going to get a lot of that out on the shelves. So anyway, I've rambled on for a little bit more than I wanted to. So I'll just say goodbye and stay tuned for more reviews, and until next time, I'll see you.